Hello and welcome to Tech Talk. You're with Mike, Duane, and Kingsley, the tech gurus of the Southeastern Ohio region.
Hey.
I don't know if I want to claim that or not.
Yeah, well,
Back hallway of this building.
Yeah.
small area.
Anyway, today we're going to talk about tech stuff. Nothing in particular. We don't have really a thing. Some news, some observations, tips.
It's talk.
Yeah.
Yes, we're just going to talk about tech stuff today.
I think from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
From software to phones to power to you name it.
Yep.
Yep.
Let me see. The WWDC, the Worldwide Developers Conference, happened, I think, last week for Apple. They came out with their new iOS 10 and I think it's Apple Sierra, which is was that 10.12 now? Something.
It's a Mac OS
Right,
for the computers that Apple
right.
sells.
Yeah.
So there's some new things in that. New Siri integration with your desktop, which I'm not sure how I feel about talking to my desktop.
Cortana has it on, Windows 10.
Yeah.
You can talk to your desktop.
Absolutely.
I guess they got to keep it up.
That's
Keep
true.
up with the
That's true.
the Joneses next door.
Yep.
So if you ask your computer a question, does your tablet answer?
Oh, yeah. Which one's going to answer first?
I don't know.
That'll be a good question.
Yeah, if you had them all on, if I have my phone, my iPad, my Mac on, all in the same room, I could make this appointment. Do they all like, hey?
Yeah. I want to change them all to the same name so I can say, okay, Fred, and all of them say something. Because there's a Siri and Cortana and Google and you name it.
Yeah.
So you got to okay
Yeah,
stuff.
if you live in a mixed
Yeah.
environment.
Oh, yeah, that would, it's like,
That
okay,
might be
which
better.
who am I talking
I
to
don't know.
today?
That's a software developer's nightmare.
Yeah.
Thank you very
But
much.
hey, I think we should rename them. So.
Okay.
Or have the option to rename them.
Hey you.
Hey.
Hey you.
How about, no, let's just rename them to computer. We'd be more Star Trek-y.
Or Hal.
How?
How? I like that. Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, Dave, I can't do that.
Yes.
You
Apple.
understand the reference of that, right?
Yeah,
It's been back
we're old. Space 2001
Yep.
or Space Odyssey.
Space Odyssey.
So what's new in Sierra? And does the newest iOS have anything that's going to make
Well,
my
I just
phone
wrote
jump
down a
for
few
joy?
things. Most of this stuff has to do with the iOS. Messages is different. They're trying to be a little bit more expressive. They have new emojis. There's things whenever you
Okay.
Boy, that made my day.
Yeah, me too.
the way the bubbles pop up.
Okay.
More crisp.
Not well. If you want to maybe yell something, the bubble will go whoop, right? Instead of just popping up,
Yeah.
it'll
Sure.
like expand then come down. Or if you want to be more touchy-feely, then it's like a more soft and
Oh, my, yes.
Okay.
or yeah.
We're being more correct.
You know,
is
I
that
don't-
called political correct?
No, I don't think
correct, or
it's just more expressive
More expressive.
in how you could be more expressive in the text world.
So now, would that work if you're texting an Android? Or is that only Apple to
That's
Apple?
probably just with the messaging app on here.
Messaging to messaging. iMessage or to iMessage.
I
I,
would
I
imagine.
believe that's going to
Yeah, it's
stay
only gonna
within
be-
the
yeah.
iOS world
Right.
because those features probably don't translate to the emoji alphabet, the international codes of.
Is that
which
something?
picture-
Okay, if
We should
I
have
was
an
to
emoji
text
alphabet.
between
There
these
is.
two,
I like that.
There it is.
if I was to text between these two, is that like a document where if I don't have the font loaded on one of them, it doesn't come to the other?
It'll give a default font, which
Or would it send the emoji as a picture where you don't have to have it?
like an animated GIF.
It's an international number for that particular character set
Right.
that represents that emoji. So
Like colon.
the discussion is who's in charge of that alphabet. Does it come from the the Apple people, the Facebook people? Who's in charge of it, and is it truly recognized internationally?
Is it really a standard?
And is it, a set? Is there a limit to how many things? I would say that it's iMessage to iMessage because that's not so much a technical protocol standard. It's more of a little feature because they can't come up with anything functionally new. They're coming up with stuff that's
They're just reviving
fun.
what they got. Yeah.
And like when you iMessage me, we're going through the internet. We're going through TCP/IP. We're going up, to a cloud and back.
Sure.
When you text Duane, you're going out from your carrier to his carrier, and it's coming through as a SMS text message.
Right. It's
So-
cellular.
It is cellular.
Right.
So I mean, it is tech talk.
It is. Hey, that works. That's
it is
the whole
tech.
principle of this. So.
One of the other things is they are trying to integrate within probably the desktop OS and your iOS device ways to control home automation. So there will be buttons on the phone as you get home, you have presets for arriving home. You have presets for waking up. You have presets for going to sleep. Like dim these lights or turn off everything, set the alarm, and lower the air conditioner.
Is that between your app and the Internet of Things device that you have, or is your Mac OS on your Mini at home sort of a base station that's controlling all your home automation and security?
No, I think it's
Individual.
this knows I think you have to sync it between whatever controls your lights, your air conditioner, like what's that little
The Nest thermostat.
Nest thermostat. All these things have internet ways of communication, and this just brings all those together so it can control all of them.
That's a lot of different protocols with devices.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That'd be interesting if it actually worked.
I don't
With
see
all
why
of
it
the
shouldn't.
different devices. Because to where there's garage doors openers and
Yeah, garage doors is on
automatic.
it.
Yeah, but there's certain things that different like Kingsley was talking about. Is it controlling this one device that controls everything in the house? So it's like a router or something in your house.
Something,
They do have those systems.
something at your house serves as the base controller.
Right.
So all of the other devices that are either within your network or within wireless range are registering with that.
With that.
And then your app is communicating to it.
Telling
and
it to
then
turn this on.
It's going to do all that type of stuff. And I think that's the most exciting thing. It's a Betamax discussion as far as I'm concerned. Who's going to be the loser?
You're right. Yeah.
I mean, how would you love to do your whole house and you build this, McMansion, and you have a integrator come in to do it all, and then you find out that
You put
it
the wrong
was
one
the
in.
less preferred protocol.
Yeah, that always
That
happens
would be
to me.
bad, wouldn't it? Yeah.
But
Well, there's not like there's a large standards organization. There are
There's
groups that
none.
look at electronics and look at things, and there's from the electrical safety standpoint the underwriter laboratories and others, but that's a very competitive a group of people out there, and you've got one company that may be backing this, and the international.
well, and it doesn't
company-
matter what's better. Beta proved that because I'm a TV engineer, and all the engineering I know about VCRs, Beta was the better system, and it was because Sony kept the rights to use Beta, and they were the only reseller of Beta. And then VHS was sort of like Windows; they licensed to use that, whoever. So you would go into the store, Sony Beta, 10 different types of VHS.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that sealed the deal is there was more things available on the X-rated market on VHS. That's the little dirty secret.
That's the difference.
iOS, an operating system for a mobile device, came out from Apple, and they are the exclusive hardware provider for
And
that
Apple's
operating
been that
system.
way with computers too. You can't.
Sure.
For a while, they tried licensing third-party people to make Mac computers, and that didn't last very long.
And if you're going to get the apps, they come from the Apple App Store,
Right.
and they're screened, and that seems to be very well. I mean, they're very well. Now, the Androids internationally are
And Androids
more
are coming
popular.
out now, yeah.
And is it because of the porn?
I
mean,
don't
if
think
you-
I
so
kind of
about that.
doubt it.
X-rated,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Yeah.
I think it's just because there's so many different
Open
people
standards.
so many open standards to
Right.
it. But that's also leads to another problem that's just now coming out, that there's now apps that are rooting your phone now.
Well, reporting your
Yeah, it's
stuff back to someone
Yep.
that you don't know.
Yep. And they're typically coming in the apps that you would normally use now, like a flashlight or something like that.
Yeah, I saw that
And,
flashlight one.
So
That's been about a year ago.
yeah. Well, there's new ones out now that are just now coming out with ransomware even. So.
Anything that's popular and open is worth exploiting.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Have you been exploited yet on your phone?
Well, not that I'm aware of.
Not that you're aware of.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, the whole Facebook world has
Although I
been.
have to admit, my carrier right now is giving me a little problem, but that's a whole other story. I think I just had a
Without mentioning
carrier
any
update.
names, what are you observing?
Well, I just had a carrier update, and since then I've had all just randomly no service, and you have to restart the phone. I get service back, like full bars, and all of a sudden no service. I'm like, what's going on?
2 days
and it never
ago-
happened until I had this service.
2 days ago,
carrier
I tried
update.
calling my wife, and it was completely silent. It did ring here, but there was zero. I didn't hear it ring. I didn't hear her voice. I didn't hear anything. And then I, restarted it. All was well.
Fine. Well, I haven't noticed this until about a week ago when I had the update. And other people have been telling me the same thing.
Okay, let's talk tech. Who's notifying you? Is it the carrier saying that you need to update your phone for the new equipment that's on your tower? Or are you getting a note from the manufacturer of that phone saying that there is a new update to Android?
Right. It was a carrier.
It was a carrier update.
Yes.
Because I got one as well from our carrier because they upgraded all the equipment on my home tower.
Yeah.
And so for me to
So
adjust
I
my
think they
phone
did
to
that.
the newest features,
Yeah. I think
not
I think
bugs,
that
features.
always.
Okay.
Yeah, always. And a few bucks.
Has it continued or has it resolved itself?
Mine is still continuing.
Mike?
Mine just
I'm
happened
fine.
today.
More silent calls?
I don't call that many people, so
All right.
it's been fine.
Yesterday I had to restart it 3 times.
Be glad it's not your car.
Yeah, absolutely. Just boom, no service.
And I think it's interesting because we put so much faith into the millions of lines of code that the developers are writing and they're sending out. Your phone and its operating system is supported by a group of companies. And they send it out and they hope that the magic mix of what you have installed
Yep.
is going to work. And the reason why they don't want you to root your phone
Right.
is because then they lose control over what they expect that phone to function as.
Right.
And when you go ahead and modify it and tweak it, that puts you responsible for its behavior.
Exactly.
And most people say, I don't know what's going on. Just, I just want it to work when I turn it on.
That's yeah.
Which, when we were talking about the home kit, where it operates all your home lights and all that stuff, how lost are you going to be if the internet goes down?
Yeah. Well, when
I can't turn on my lights.
there.
How lost you
we
gonna be
are
when somebody
so-
unlocks your door for you?
We are so
I
dependent
can't
on
get in
these
the house.
things. we are so dependent on these things, and it's. I've had people go, I can't. We've even had people that said, I don't know what to do. I can't make a phone call.
Could you?
We'll go over there and pick up the phone that's on the wall.
How do you do that?
Where? What? Where? That phone hanging right there. Oh, okay. I don't know the number.
Right.
That's the
yeah.
next problem. I don't know the number.
So
I just click on names.
Yeah.
Duane, you've just modded your phone. What did you do?
I added an external battery that acts as a case. So it extends my battery life because my battery was going dead quicker during the day. I've had the
How
phone.
long have you had it?
I've had the phone now about 4 years.
4 years. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not bad.
3.5. It's going on for the 4th year. And the battery the factory battery is down to about 3 hours. Okay. So I've toyed with other batteries, and because I've got one, my phone, I can snap off the back and replace the battery. So mine is a replaceable battery, really easy compared to the
Right.
other phones. And I've done that for a while. I just carried an extra battery with me, just stick it in your pocket or in the car or wherever you're at, or truck or whatever. And then I just like swapped it out at noon. And then what I did was there's a charger that will just charge the other battery. So I plug it in at night. So I plug that in at night, and I plug my phone in at night. So now I'm charging 2 devices. So I was like, well, and a few times I forgot my battery.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was like, oh, well, so I finally decided to break down, and I bought this. And the case is a battery as well. So you just slide your phone down into it, and you're off
And it
running.
plugs into the bottom.
It plugs into the bottom just like a normal battery charger for your phone. So, and it adds another, depending on how much you use it, 2.5 to 3 hours.
It's not heavy.
No, it's not. It doesn't add a lot of weight to the phone because the battery isn't really that big or that much. But it does have a battery meter on it,
So it
it'll
doesn't
tell
have
you how
like
charged
twice.
it is.
So it doesn't have
Everything,
like
so.
twice the battery as the
No,
original.
not exactly twice the battery. No.
So, Mike, we don't have replaceable batteries.
Yeah. What do you
And
guys
I
do?
get more than 2 or 3 hours out of my phone.
It ain't 4 years old, is it?
No, but
I bet we replace ours sooner than 4 years.
I tend
I'm
to
not
keep
gonna
my
go there.
phone. I tend to keep my phone.
Sure.
I get used to it, and I'm like, I don't want to change until it breaks.
but
It's
you
done.
have replaceable batteries.
I have replaceable batteries, so I can do that. And here's my kick with that. I bought another brand new factory battery, it said.
Are those expensive?
Worked less than the other one. It lasted a whole day just like the original one did. And I was like, great. I charged it up the next day. It lasted till noon. And I'm like, what's up with this? And you just
Turn your Bluetooth off.
You just cannot get, you just cannot get batteries that act like the factory battery does. And I don't know why.
Let's talk about
Let's
charging.
let's talk about charging.
Last month, I brought in a replacement wall outlet
Wall
for
outlet.
your home.
Yeah.
And you told me that you took my advice and
I
put
took
them
your
in.
advice. I did it. I put in like a dozen.
Okay, a dozen.
Yeah.
Deep pockets.
Yeah,
Well,
he bought into
let's
it.
just say I was doing remodeling at the house.
Understood. Okay.
So they're owned by somebody else right now.
Okay.
I'm just paying on them.
So, we're told that they're smart technology.
Yep.
And there is not a standard in those outlets that describe what the smart technology is, and it's very vague.
Yes.
But I have some observations. Take 2 devices and you plug them in.
In the same outlet
There's
with
the
2
same
USBs.
outlet, but 2
With
USBs.
Yeah.
They say the smart technology will lower the power delivered when your device gets to a charge.
Right.
What happens when my phone charges
And that one's still going.
and the other one's still going?
Were
It
they
can-
independent?
Apparently not. so you can go all night and never get your tablet charged because it's still looking for a lot more power.
A lot more juice.
And this may have told that outlet to simmer down.
Yeah, if this was charged at 30% when I plugged it in, and that was gone at like 80 or 90%, then
No,
And Mike, you talked about the fact that you plug in a phone to an iPad charger, which is a higher amperage. It's the same volts, but it's a higher amperage, same plug format. But it can really supercharge your phone quickly.
fast charging.
right.
And I guess what we don't know enough about is what this smart technology is that tells the charger to only charge so fast and so hard, and when to tone it down, and whether or not those devices are independent
Yeah.
in the same outlet. The other observation that we had is if you have two devices, and in my case, I have the magnetic covers,
Oh, yeah.
which can turn off or make it
Put 'em to sleep.
Put it in sleep
Put it
mode.
in
Thank
sleep
you.
mode, yeah.
And you have them on top of each other. Weird things happen in the charging. They just don't seem to charge well.
Really?
And on my Android tablet, which is a Google Nexus made by Asus, I have to turn it off now to charge it on one of those. If it's on, it doesn't seem to charge as well, but if I turn the device off rather than sleep, it charges great. Now, is that a deal breaker since you've put them all over your house? I don't think so, because
No.
you kind of know the rules of how it works.
Yeah. Well, I've
And
kind of
you
noticed
don't-
even with my phone, it doesn't charge as quickly if it's on, even though, you know, the screen's not on. But if you turn it off, it'll charge a lot quicker. Yeah.
And don't let it go to zero. You don't want to, these batteries, you don't want to discharge completely.
Does the actual device make it go to zero? Or will it say, shutting down, boom? Kind of like the laptop does?
Mine will just die.
It just, boom, off.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
You
have
could be
been
in the
below
middle of
25%.
doing something.
You haven't
and-
been below 25?
I get redlined and then
You plug in.
or I turn it off.
Okay.
I turn it off.
Yeah, the other thing that these do, I don't know if you have that update or not, it turns the screen orange or yellowy after 10 o'clock because it's supposed to help
Really?
you with your
Eyesight, yeah.
Vision?
rhythms, you know, what is it, circadian
Sleeping?
rhythm? Right.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bring you that bright white light, it gives you a more yellowish warm tone.
Let you go to sleep quicker.
Can I wrap up the thoughts on
Yeah,
this?
let's hear this. I'm only interested.
How many applications, apps on your device are running right now?
Several.
Several.
Yeah.
I'd probably say 7 or 8, but
In the foreground,
once in a
'cause you've
while
used them
I
lately?
will like turn them
No,
off.
they all randomly.
Okay. When we reboot them,
Yep.
and on our iOS devices, you can turn them off, even do a hard reset, and it will reload all the applications that you have running.
It starts off where you left off.
So you do have to swipe them and turn them off.
Constantly.
But what I'm getting at is the ones that are set to do notification services. I have this thing for weather apps. And, you know, it's starting
Got to
to
know if there's a tornado
Yeah,
on the
It's
way.
starting to rain, and it's exactly that. The WSAZ weather app, WeatherBug, and Telecast, all of them. The NOAA, you know, I love the radar apps. They're sitting there calling home to the mothership
Constantly.
saying, you got a tornado, you got a rainstorm, you got any lightning?
Yeah.
And they're sitting there pulling my battery use down. And I love to look at them, but I need to turn off those background notifications where I don't need them.
Right.
And one of my recommendations is to learn your devices, learn the apps that are there, find out, you know, how to turn off the notification services, turn off location services.
Well, that's a big one.
And today I put in a new keyboard. Microsoft announced 2 new mobile apps. One's called Flow and one's called the Flow keyboard. And it said, I want to have access to your contact list.
Why?
Yeah, every app that asks me that, I turn right off.
Yeah.
No, I'm not giving you all my friends.
But some of them they're required. If you don't say yep, you don't get it.
I don't
So
know.
you gotta
Depends
pick a
on
different
how
app.
important it is. I tell
Yeah.
them no.
So, yeah. Well, you know that's true.
Okay.
And there's some of them that is like we want access to photos. Why?
Well, if it is a
Why?
photo app, sure.
Yeah,
Because
but-
then it won't get into the camera and all that stuff.
Yeah, but
It
there's a
needs
lot
that.
of them that are not.
Yeah, then I say no.
So,
you
yeah,
can do
so-
everything but that.
You're Google, man.
Yep.
Have you looked under Hey Google on your Google page to see all of the recordings that have been saved
Oh yeah.
in your profile?
Yeah.
We can't do that for Siri.
Yeah. Oh, this thing you can go back for weeks. You can track me all over the place.
Like I'm a terrible speller, so I always ask Google,
Yeah.
you know, spell this, spell that, because when I'm texting, I
Yeah.
kind of want it to look good.
I don't text as much as just use the little microphone thing.
You talk.
and
Yeah.
just talk to it.
Yeah, but I hate this. It auto corrects and it doesn't work at all for me.
Oh, there's some things, yeah.
And I'm like, I hate spell checking in some instances.
And you can turn it off, but
It drives me nuts.
and the other thing, back to the messaging thing,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people using emojis almost exclusively, just emoji after emoji, and then I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out what
What
the
does that
heck
mean
are they
that-
trying to say?
That's a new language, yeah. Completely.
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
they're leaving me. I spell check my texts, and I'm
Yeah,
just
try to spell check the emojis.
Yeah.
Woo. There's a new program for you. What you got there, Kingsley? Oh, that says, am I allowed to say? I can't say that name.
Looks like a Mac Mini, but with a different brand on it.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to be replacing about 90 computers on campus this summer. And one of the things that we asked the faculty was whether or not the students needed to have on their computers an optical disc,
Oh, yeah.
because that
CD.
takes up space. And actually, this device is probably going to be the most powerful computer that we have on campus in any office or in any labs.
Really?
And it has a wireless antenna if you want to use it that way. Plenty of USB. It has an HDMI output and a display port that we work
So you
with
can
all
use
the
through your
time.
TV or whatever.
You could, but the neat thing about it is that the memory chip is just a little bit larger than an SD card, and it's removable from the board. And
Is it like 500 gig or what?
this is, you asked me to answer too quick. I think we're getting 256 gig of memory because the students that use the lab machines don't need that much.
Right, they're
But
not video
it's got
editing
8
and
gigs
stuff.
of memory in it. And
Oh, I've got a question for you. You just said that. You have 256 gigs of memory, and then you said 8 gigs of memory.
8
So
gigs of storage.
So is it,
memory.
or is it 256?
RAM.
Yeah. So people always ask me, is it memory or is it storage? Or is it, people confuse me when they say that. Well, I've got 256 gig of memory. And I'm like, no, you have 256 gig of storage.
Right.
So
That's where you
yeah,
write
that
stuff.
stuff is, yeah.
The RAM memory is just the computer's operational stuff where it writes temporary files.
So are these just student machines?
These will go in the labs.
In the labs, okay.
And we will take the computers that are in the labs out, refurbish them, put in new solid state drives, and put them in work study, graduate assistant, adjunct offices, kiosks, because they're still great. They still function very well. They're both i5 processors. And we don't see any problems. It's just that we
That device, it obviously, it's small. Does it have a fan? How does
No,
it handle
there's,
heat? It's just a heat sink in it?
There's a heat sink in here.
Okay.
The power
Yeah, I can
supply
see.
is a little power block.
Really? Wow.
We had some computers that were small form factor that had a power block, but the power block was about the size of a brick. And actually the computers bricked themselves anyhow.
So what do you find price-wise, this little guy versus a normal machine?
These are about in line with what we were spending before.
Interesting. Okay.
Is that about it for today?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's done.
Pat's telling us to just
Yeah,
cut it
we
off.
gotta go.
So
We're doing so well too.
we
I
could
think
go
we ought to
another
do this
half
again,
hour if you
yeah.
wanted to. So
Extended show.
right. So thanks again for watching Tech Talk. See you next month.
Goodbye.